guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, hi, hello, welcome, thank you so much for stopping by. Today's video is going to be another ranking my last 10 eyeshadow palettes. Spoilers, I do have enough palettes for another ranking 10 video, so this isn't my last 10, it's my last 10. The last 10 video ranking of palettes I did was back in July, and I kind of gave spoilers in that I had enough to do another one. I just wanted to play around with the palettes a little more and get a more accurate feel of where I wanted to rank them based off the season, based off color story. None of these are bad formulas. I'll say that again, kind of like I did in the last one. I got lucky that none of these are bad quality shadows. It's just obviously I'm going to like some colors more than others. I'm going to like some formulas more than others. I'm in no way trying to brag about the palettes I have in my collection. I know I have a ridiculous eyeshadow palette collection. I got gifted palettes, I get Boxycharm, I buy some with my own money. I love eyeshadow palettes. They are my most favorite part about makeup. I can use them on my eyes, I can utilize them in my body paint, so I am gonna have a pretty large eyeshadow palette collection. I do have palettes I have given away to friends or that are just in my declutter pile to give to friends and waiting for them to be claimed. And with these, you can kind of see what I'm bringing into my collection without me doing a whole new eyeshadow palette collection video each time I bring in a bunch of new palettes, you know? I'm gonna quit rambling. I feel like I've rambled on a good amount. If you are curious on seeing where I rank these 10 palettes, then just keep on watching. Alright, so number 10 was gifted to me from Becca. This is the Glam Light Donut palette. So Glam Light has a beautiful formula. Their mattes are gorgeous. Their shimmers are so foiled, metallic, and beautiful. So the only reason it's ranked number 10 is for the colorful shades, the mattes are lighter than the shimmer counterpart. And this shade doesn't have a shimmer counterpart. It has this shade, which that kind of confused me because there's a match, there's a match, there's a match, there's a match, and then you have a teal shade and a like face highlight shade or like an inner corner highlight. So that kind of confuses me, but I wish that the shimmers were lighter than the matte shades, because if I'm using these, I'll have to go into another blue to get a darker blue matte, just to make the look fit better for me. And it's just a brighter color story, and I'm not going to use these two shades really that much at all unless I'm using it for a character. So that's the only reason that this one is ranked number 10, but the formula is beautiful, so. It's also a more springy-ish palette for me, so I wouldn't really reach for these shades too much right now. So yeah, very, very beautiful. I just like the other palettes a little bit better, which the next one might shock you on me liking it a little bit better. So number 9 might come as a shock because I talk about how much I hate cool tone shadows, but it goes to the Jeffree Star Cremated palette. This one was the one gifted to me from Becca, so I have had it for a while now. And I've only recently started using it for doing my Halloween looks and stuff. That's still why it's near the bottom. I really love Jeffree's shadow formula. I like this a little bit more than this just because, you know, I've got more range from light to dark, but I've got the perfect shades to shade all my body paints for, just to give that cool tone shadow. It's perfect for, you know, face contour, for like smoky eyes and stuff for Halloween characters, so I really enjoy it for that. As much as I hate cool tone shadows on myself, I do like this one just a little bit more color story wise than the Glam Light Donut. Alright, so these are those shadows here. Again, they're just so pigmented, so reflective for the shimmers, and perfect cool tone palette. Again, I know Jeffree is very controversial, but if you like cool tones, if you don't care about the controversy, you just want a very good like gray scale palette, this one is beautiful. Alright, so number 8 goes to the ColourPop Fade Into Hue palette, and you might be wondering, with this being more colorful and bright than the Glam Light palette, why this one's ranked a little bit higher. It's just because I have more color options. I love the gradient from light to dark. Again, I have a darker matte than I have of a shimmer shade, so I like that. I don't love the glitters in here, but I absolutely adore the green and the yellow row. It's beautiful. I really enjoy it. This one was also sent to me from Becca. So these bottom 3 were sent to me from Becca. Nothing against, you know, me just trying to like pick on Becca and like putting stuff that I bought higher. It's not that. Again, some of these are in Boxycharm, some I bought. It's just color story preference. If you guys see the first couple, spoilers, they're from Becca too. So Some of the ones from her were ranked lower, some of them from her were ranked higher. Again, none of these are bad eyeshadow palettes, it's just what I gravitate towards more than other palettes. The pink one is one of those mattes with the glitter particles in them, but these are those shades there. Very, very pretty, and again, ColourPop is super affordable and has a really good formula. Alright, so number 7 goes to the Glam Light Street Taco palette. Again, this one was sent to me from Becca, but I had to rank this lower also because I use half the shades. I use the greens and the neutral shades. This one's kind of like that green, gold, like bronze type shade. You guys will see it swatched. I absolutely adore this shade. I don't love bright red orange. I don't love the orange in general. And the purples are brighter than what I would want. I don't love bright purples. I love muted purples like mauves or very, very deep, dark, vampy purples. I literally use half the palette, and that's the reason I had to rank this just a little bit lower. But I love using those 5 shades together so much. That has been like a very go-to eye color combo for me. I just couldn't rank this higher with only half the palette being used. Very beautiful. Again, Becca, thank you so much. I love the formula, and I'm really happy with the 5 shades that I use very consistently. I feel like people at work get sick of my eye look because I use those 5 a lot. Alright, so you guys can see how bright that purple shade is, but if you look at this Carnita shade, it is absolutely breathtaking. I'm obsessed with it. Very, very beautiful formula, and again, if I used the other shades, this palette definitely would have been ranked higher. So number 6 goes to the ColourPop Elsa palette. This one I bought along with the Anna palette for like $10 off Poshmark, so it was like $5 each. This is a very wintry color story, but it is still so beautiful. I'm not the biggest fan, again, of the pressed glitter. The silver I don't wear often, but when you guys see that silver swatched, it is absolutely beautiful, and it makes me want to play around with silvers more. Otherwise, I think it's a very beautiful palette. I mainly got this palette and the Anna palette to do a Elsa and Anna body paint and use their eyeshadows to go with it, so that was the main reason I got them, especially for $5 each, but I'm very, very happy with the quality and color story of the palette regardless. Again, this is like my kind of like purples if I'm going muted, but I have a dark enough purple that's still slightly bright, but it's still dark enough that I can deepen up a look. So these are like my types of purple shades as like a perfect definition compared to the Street Taco palette, but look at that silver. It just looks like wet silver. The first shimmer is absolutely gorgeous and multi-dimensional as well. Like I said, it's like pink, but like some green gold to it. It is beautiful. I just like the color stories of the top 5 a little bit better. Spoilers, they're all very fall color stories. All right, so number 5 goes to my Anastasia Norvina Volume 3 palette. The neutrals in here just pull so orange. I absolutely adore the shimmers in here. They're all beautiful. I love the greens, the yellow, but like these 2 neutrals I would think would be more neutral, but they both pull very, very orange, even this shade. But I don't know if it's just how these are next to the other shades where they look more neutral, but when I put them on my eyes, I just get very, very orange. I have to go into something else to dull it down a little bit. The purples are still like way too bright of a purple. I would think that these are going to be pretty dark purples, but they're still kind of bright. That's the only reason it's ranked lower. The other color stories I really love a lot more, but this is a great formula. I really enjoy it, so I don't think there's anything wrong with the formula. If you guys like more orange shadows than I do, I definitely think you guys would enjoy this more. I just prefer a more grungy look versus a more like bright orange look, so. But there are those shades there. I mean, again, look how beautiful those shimmers are, but like you can see that the shade in the pan doesn't look like it's going to be a super bright purple, but it does look a lot brighter than what I want it to be. Then for number 4, we have the ColourPop Frozen 2 Anna palette. Again, I got this with the Elsa palette mainly to do a body paint for these characters, but I really enjoy Anna's color story. It is a beautiful like fall tone palette. Again, there is that pressed glitter, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but these are my types of purples. You've got the lighter mauves, you've got a darker purple, you've got the browns. I don't really use the glitter, but for using 8 out of the 9 shades and really enjoying 8 out of the 9 shades, definitely very happy. I just like the top three a little bit more, but this is very, very nice. I'm very glad I ended up picking it up. And again, for $5, couldn't beat it. I just love how this is still fall, but it's like a softer fall eye. It's not too dark, but you do have the darker purple and the darker brown that if you did want to deepen it up and make it a little bit more vampy, you could. I think that this was super, super well done. All right, so number 3 is the Dominique Cosmetics Transitions palette, and I love a matte heavy palette. Spoiler, number 1 will come as a huge surprise with me saying I love a matte heavy palette, but this is so beautiful. I love that it is literally a full face type palette, even though every shade doesn't work on my face for my skin tone. I still love them all as eyeshadows, but I love that there's the option that you can use these as face shades, like the honey shade. Ever since I did my Gryffindor look where I used a like golden yellow eyeshadow to use as like a blush, then bought the NYX Yellow Blush, I have been loving yellow toned blushes. So I absolutely love the honey shade on my eyes as a blush shade. It is beautiful. I love the pinkier purple blush shades. I love that I can use them as setting powders, some sort of like a light bronzer shade. I don't have the most perfect like cool tone contour shade. I can probably try to mix it around a little bit, but that's just a little bit too much dipping in and out of different pans. The formula is really good, and I love the pan sizes. They're big enough to get a face brush in there and stuff. Not the biggest face brush, like you're obviously not going to be able to get this kind of big powder brush in there, but like an angled brush I can get in there perfectly fine and stuff. So I really enjoy the color story, pan size, and formulation of this. Alright, so I mean, just look at the tones. They are beautiful, and like as matte shades, I feel like these are very fall-esque as well. Like you see I have this shade, it's like a bronzer shade, but I feel like if I mixed this with ash a little bit, I could get that contoury type shade. Alright, so palettes 1 and 2 are a combination of what's on my eyes today, but number 2 goes to the Melt Vita palette. So this one was gifted to me from Becca. I wanted this along with the Muerte palette. I'm still so mad that I didn't end up getting the Muerte palette, but when Becca was decluttering this one and asked if I wanted it, I knew I wanted it just for the packaging aesthetics alone. I love the melt formula, but I love skulls so much. I thought it was going to be too bright of a palette with these shades and stuff, but I use these two, and then a little bit of these two on my eyes just to help make those shades not as bright, because they are bright, I'm not going to lie, but I love it so much more than I thought. I don't really dip into the 2 red shades here. I like this so much more than I thought, and yeah, thank you again, Becca, so much for sending this one my way. Alright, so here are those shades there. You can definitely tell like why this isn't a color I really reach for, but look how beautiful that shimmer green is. These 3 shades here together are perfect for me to kind of do a grungy green base using this palette. If I just use these 2 shades, it's going to be a very bright green look, so I love pulling that one in there to grungify my greens. So I've been saying I love matte heavy palettes. Number 1 palette is a very shimmer heavy palette, but I reach for it specifically to go into the shimmers. I don't reach for it to use the mattes. I'll do mattes, build up whatever I want for my eyes, and then go into this palette for the shimmers. And this one is the Pat McGrath Celestial Divinity palette. This again was sent to me from Becca, and the shimmers in here are absolutely stunning. You have 3 mattes. If they were neutral brown shades, like a light brown, a mid-tone brown, and a deep, deep brown, even if it was like a deep brown with a purple base, I feel like I would like it more and actually use some of the mattes in here. I'll still use the mattes, I just don't go into this palette being like, oh, I want to use this matte pink shade. I don't go into this palette for that. I go into this palette wanting to use the shimmers. I've got this one all over my eyes today. Very beautiful. You've got some just regular metallic shades. You've got some duochrome shades. Such a beautiful palette. I absolutely adore Pat McGrath shimmers. Again, like Becca, thank you so much. All right, and for the shimmers, I love that we have some dark, dark shimmer shades, but we have some shades that are light enough to use as an inner corner highlight for me. This first shade is definitely like a duochrome shade. I don't know how to describe it. This one's like a pink magenta with some teal flecks in there. You've got your gold shade, and then you have like this dark purple shimmer shade. So beautiful. I I love it. I love it so much. And I know it's very contradicting to me saying how much I love matte heavy palettes. I couldn't rank it any lower. I had to rank it number 1 just because these shimmers are that special. So yeah, this palette absolutely takes the cake for number 1, even though it is shimmer heavy, and I emphasize all the time how much I love matte focused palettes. But yeah. Alright guys, so that is it for my ranking my last 10 palettes. Let me know what you guys thought of the palettes in this video, where you guys would have ranked them, what you would have ranked as your number 1. I would be very curious to see, because we all have different preferences when it comes to makeup, and that's the fun of it. And yeah, but I'm gonna keep this outro really short because I have 10 minutes before I need to leave to go to work. But if you guys have a palette ranking video, let me know down below. I would love to go check it out. And yeah, if you guys like the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the little bell notifications so you guys know every single time that I upload. And yeah, love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!